Hi guys, my name is SpongeBobble. Today we will be modding, doing a tutorial on modding Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time on the PC version. Whoops. So, number one, you're gonna have to be picking up your favorite model that you want. In my case, I will be doing the model of Crash Bandicoot from Crash Tag Team Racing. Let's do the this one. Let's just make a folder on our desktop called Crash. There you go. So for this, you're gonna be needing Unreal Engine 4.24, and you're gonna be needing Blender or whatever modeling tool you use for your models. So I'll be opening up the Steam version of Blender. It doesn't matter which one you use. I just use this Blender. Holy shit, that's loud. Okay. So number one, since we're on the modeling part, we open up our FBX of Crash Bandicoot from Crash Bandicoot 4, which I have right here. This will be in the description. You're gonna press Alt S to scale it up to a big size like this. It's gonna be pink, of course. If we look at what model this is an object. So we go to File, Import, Obj, and our Crash model should be right here. So we scale him down by hitting the letter S, and make him like close to Crash 4's proportions. So you can move him back by pressing G and moving him around like this. If you want to move it by an axis, like the green lines and the red lines right here, you could do G, X to move it along the X axis, Y to move it along the Y axis, or Z to move it up and down. But since I'm moving it this way, you're gonna move it along the Y axis, so we press Y and move it back to where he is. Right around here. Since this model doesn't have a it doesn't have armature on it. The armature is like these octagonal fucking thingies, bones. So we have to manually move his arms down to where they are. So we go into edit mode. We go into this mode up here, top right. Let's select just his right arm right here. Well, for me it's not gonna be perfect, but we move his right arm down. At least make it match with the Crash 4 arm. It's not perfect, but it'll work. And we could do the same thing with the other hand. If you want to know how I do this, you could hold down the click button and just drag these. If you want to select more, you hold down Shift while doing it. If you want to deselect these, you just hold down Control and you select which ones you don't want anymore. But yeah. So we'll be selecting these and moving his arm down. Since this part is bent, so we just move it back. Like that. Like I said, it's not gonna be perfect, but it'll work. So now that Crash is looking fine right now, we could delete this pink Crash, which is the Crash 4 Crash. So we click on his mesh and press delete on your keyboard. If you don't have a delete function on your keyboard, like the gaming keyboards, well, not really a gaming keyboard, but the ones that don't even have like the delete button, you could just press right click and delete, or just hit X. There you go. And now you'll be left with this. Since my model does not have a skeleton, these are the skeletons right here, blue parts. My model doesn't have a skeleton, so mine's already all set to be rigged. So what we do is we select Crash right here, just to match itself. We do Shift, click on the skeleton, Control P, and with automatic weights. So this will make the whole entire thing riggable. With cats right here, you don't need this plugin. I can see that the rig does move the whole entire thing, which is the root bone right there that I'm selecting. Oh, okay. And if we load an animation, we can load an animation from Crash 4 on here. Let's do the running animation. Oh, whoops. This is the running animation. You can see he doesn't look. It's pretty much complete, but his face is a bit weird, and his fingers too. So now that you know that your model is pretty much rigged, we can do some adjustments to it by going to edit mode. And for me, I don't do weight painting. I just go into the vertex groups over here. I take a look at all these, and I pick whichever ones that I don't need. If we open up Blender again right here, we can see if we load the actual original Crash 4 model that most of these bones are not used. Let me get that real quick. Okay. So, let's look at the right side right here. If you compare it to the other one, the list is long. Whoops. Oh, okay. Whoop. There we go. We can see that this one over here is longer because of the scrolling list, but this one's shorter. That's because most of these bones are not used, such as the skirt bone. You can see that this Crash doesn't have a skirt, so he doesn't really need a skirt bone in the end. It will still be on the bone or armature, but they delete it because they don't need it. It's the same thing with the root bone. We don't really need the root bone, that's why they delete on this one. If you look at this one, bruh, this one has the root bone. So, I did not play that browse sound effect, by the way, that was Discord. So we could just delete this root bone, even though selecting nothing. Make sure you go on wireframe mode to make sure it's not selecting anything. So we could just delete it or just leave it there. If you want, you could make sure that while you model Crash 4, you can actually click on all of these and have two Blenders open to see how each one is different, such as the pelvis over here. You can see that one selects his bottom body, but this one selects literally just his pelvis, I guess. So you can see that it's not really going to be the same thing. It's just going to be, you have to make it yourself type thing. So the pelvis right here is just fine. I'm going to keep like this. And while you do that, you can press assign to make sure it selects those ones specifically for the pelvis. Control I to select the rest of the thing. Press remove so it doesn't interact with anything else besides only this part. So you press select right here, it'll only be on those parts. So the spine 1, spine 2, spine 3 isn't needed. So I'll be just deleting those. Oh yeah, when you actually do change it, make sure you do press assign and remove everything else. Spine 4 is the one that's used. If we look at this regular Crash 4 model, looking at spine 4, it does select most of his spine. So we'll be doing the same thing like that. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to make it match up completely. But if you want it to be a perfect mod, then yeah, go ahead, go for it. Looking good. So you could just press the sign and remove everything else. We could go back to object mode with your animation set if you want to look how the body is working. If you want to go into edit mode, well, you could go into pose mode actually. Alt H right here. Pose mode. Well, that's not really what I want, but if we reset the pose right here and we go into pose mode and you move him around and he doesn't have any vertices poking out, then that means he's all set to be used. Well, not really, but it means that most of his parts are selected and they won't be broken or anything. So the clavicle over here, this is just his arm, kind of, the back part where he moves his arm. If we look at the clavicle in Crash 4 Crash, he does move his arm like this, where it's only selecting the back and part of his left arm, or whatever arm you're doing. So you don't really need the front for this one, but do you. Doesn't have to be perfect. You could just view the animations if you want to see how it works or looks. Upper arm and lower arm is not used. This is the whole entire list of what's used over here. So if you want to follow these, then go ahead. Make sure you match up with all these Crash 4 original bones right here, so that you don't need any extra bones. But I'll be clearing all these extra bones that I don't want. And if we look at object mode and we load the animation, his arm should be looking okay. Let's take a look. Looking good. His nose is broken, but it's okay. All his thumbs can be also be rigged if you want them to be, but I don't want those rigged, so I'll be clearing all of those. Remember, you could just match up with how thumb looks on every other model if you want the thumbs to be rigged. So I'll be doing all the hands part right here to make sure that the thumbs or fingers won't be rigged. Bendy lower arm is mostly for the middle parts of these arms. If we look at the red Crash 4 Crash right here, you can see these go to his arms. But since my model is already all set for that, oh, look at that. You can see that one of the fingers is now broken because I cleared the bones on it. This is what I mean by it's not mapped to anything. So Crash's fingers right here, all of them are mapped to probably like the hand bone or something else. So you have to make sure all these bones right here are mapped. So let's go into edit mode. And let's take a look at the hand. Oh, the hand has nothing but... Oh, well. So for the hand, I'll just put as hand then. The whole entire hand. Because that's what I want. And if we assign it, and we look back at the animation, his hand should be fixed now. Back to editing mode. We don't need a shoulder pad. He doesn't wear shoulder pads unless you're doing a costume. Crash doesn't really have a neck either, so we remove that. Now, if you're doing a model like Super Mario, like I did before, you'll see that he doesn't really need the nose or ear or hair parts at all. So if you're doing a model that you don't want facial expressions or anything else to be on, you can remove all of these parts right here, starting at around the bandana, I think, yeah. So you can start around bandana and start removing these, because you don't really need them. So since my Crash, or Crash Tag Team Racing Crash, doesn't really have a lot of emotion, well, he does, but I'm not going to put too much emotion on him. So what I'll be doing is I'll be removing all these bones, since I'm going to keep his face static. By what I mean by static is that he's just going to be smiling, looking soulless into you, like right now. So, you could just start removing these yourself if you want to, by hitting the minus button. I'll be using my auto clicker to make it faster. And you'll be stopping at the head bone, because you need to keep the head. So the head bone is right here. If we select it, it should select part of him. We don't need those, we only want the whole entire head. And his eyebrows and whatever expressions that you want with them. So what we do is we remove everything except his head that we want to keep. That should be his whole entire head. Assign and remove everything else. And if we look at the animation, you'll see that his eyes don't glitch anymore and his face is just static. Doesn't move anything else. We can also look at another animation. Let's take a look at the victory. You beat a stage. Oh, wait, that's not the whole thing. Yeah, look at that. Looking cool. So we go back to edit mode. Clavicle R is the same thing as the other hand. We're pretty much doing the same thing again, but with the right hand this time. Sign, remove. And if we look at the animation, it should be just fine. If you could see over here for a second, you'll see that his teeth, or part of him, kind of glitched. You can see this part isn't selected at all anywhere. So if we go into this mode and go back to edit mode, we can see that it's a part around here somewhere that isn't selected at all yet. So let's put it onto the head. Now if we go back to the animation, that part's gone, because now it's assigned to just his head. You could also see it on the glove right here too, kind of. When you see something spiky like this right here, the glove right here, it probably means that another part is selecting it, or it's not assigned to anything. So we'll be checking all the other bones after I finish the right hand. Remove everything else that you don't need. And we could check all the bendy lower arms. Those look okay, so I'll keep them. Sometimes some parts will interact with other objects that you don't want, such as the mouth right here for the upper arm. You could just remove them. Again, by holding down Control and selecting them. Press assign, and that's it. And remove any parts that you don't want. He doesn't have a shoulder pad, so remove that. He doesn't have a backpack. He doesn't have another spine. Let me check if he does have a spine 3. Yep, he does. Spine 3 will be most of the other parts of the body as well. So you could keep those. Crash doesn't have a necklace, so remove that. Assign, remove. All his other spines are okay. So we can move on. Oh, this spine goes to his pants, so we can just remove that. And check the animation out. As you can see, the animation is looking okay now. Now we could just fix this glove. But let's finish all the other bones first before we figure out what the problem is. The hip bone I don't really need, but you could keep it if you want. It does make him cooler, I guess, so let's just remove part of the pant and only keep to his hip only. His thigh is mostly his leg. It's like the clavicle, but for the leg. The calf is pretty much the same thing, I guess. Well, he doesn't have a calf apparently, so I don't think we really need that, but I'll keep it there. The foot is the foot. The ball is the curvy part of the foot, which is like the front. So, let's say you're walking down the hill and your feet, your tiny, like your feet, whatever they're called, are on the ground and they curve up to make you lift off the ground. That's pretty much what the ball is for. Intense drinking water. The pant cuff is just the cuff right here where the leg ends, I guess. I don't really need it, so well, I mean, I would want it, but I'm good. Bendy calf and everything else just for the rest of the leg. My leg is completely fine, so I will not be removing those. Knee pad does not really be needed, so I'll remove that. thigh is pretty much the same thing with the top part of him, of his leg. So we'll be keeping that. Same thing with the right side. Just replicate everything else. His foot selects more of him apparently, so let's fix that. Assign, remove. The ball selects the ball does select the front part of the shoe, so that's good. The pant cuff doesn't select it, so that's all good. The calf is all set.
Bruh.
I did not play that bruh sound effect, by the way. That was Discord. The thigh is okay. And that's it. You can see all these extra bones right here. Skirt and a tail. You don't need those, so we remove them. Crash doesn't have a tail. Unless you're having a mod that has a tail, you could use it. Now let's take a look at the animation. You can see some parts are not selected, which we can fix. Like his butt right here. Or his glove. So, for example, let's fix his butt. Let's go to a part where he's going to be moving a lot. So his thigh is the top part of him. We could just keep it only to the left side of the thigh. So we remove it, assign, remove it. And the thigh on the right side does not select anything else. So we could just select those missing bones that we had earlier, that we saw. And hit assign. Now if we look at the animation, his butt should be okay. It's a bit weird, but well, who's gonna be looking at his ass whenever he wants? Am I right? And let's take a look at another animation. Just a running one. That's it. There we go. You can see his running does look okay. So we'll be keeping that just fine. Now let's fix the glove. If we go into the hand, for the left hand, we can see all of it is selected. Maybe one bone is missing, probably. But it would be weird if something was missing. So let's check the animation. Right here is where the bone is missing. You can see, kind of. So maybe some part of another bone is interacting with them. So let's check all the other bones. Let's check the root bone, the pelvis, the spine, all the other spines. Spine 4, the clavicle. Oh, look at that. The clavicle is interacting with his hand. So we remove this part, assign, and remove. It fixed one part, but not whatever this is. So let's take a look again. The upper arm doesn't have selected, lower arm doesn't have selected. The hand has it selected. But that's where we had the problem though. So what do? Let's keep looking for where the problem is. The thumb doesn't have it. Maybe thumb base doesn't have it. Index base doesn't have it. Middle base. Ring base cuff. It looks like a bendy lower arm is probably affecting it. So let's deselect most of these bones. Let's take a look. Oh, bruh. It's still happening. Well, I can see that it goes to the right side, which means something around the right side of his body is probably affecting it. But let's just keep looking. This is okay. Not gonna lie, if you're watching this right now, if you're watching like the whole tutorial, this is like the boringest part. You're looking for the bone that's like interacting with the right hand. Like, who has time to do this? Look at that! Wow, shoulder pad R is interacting with it. So, boom! Now it's fixed. Now we're happy. Day is saved. Woo! Okay. Now that we're done, we can take another look at one more animation. Oh, move it that much. That should be okay. Boom. Look at those sweet moves. He's jamming. Well, now that we're done, we can go into cats, and well, we don't need cats, but if he's on a T-pose and he's working just fine, well, if you think he's just fine, you can also check his you can actually check his poses to see if it worked by going to viewport display, in front, stick, right here, and you can actually check all these bones to see if they work or not. So let's take a look at the clavicle. The clavicle is his whole entire left arm, right? His left arm works. How cool is that? Wow. Oh, you can see your arm is probably interacting with that, so we can fix that. His upper arm, it works just fine. What about his spine? His spine works just okay. Wow. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Now this is the part where you can finalize your stuff if you have most of his body working. I selected the right arms, whoops. If you think your model's okay and you're ready to use it, then you could use it. I mean, mine has that fucking arm problem, but it's okay. I don't really mind it. It's not gonna bother me for the rest of my life. Oh, what's that? You can see him fucking having an extruding problem right here. Let's fix that. Let's go to the spine and just assign it to that. Wow, no more shooting spine thing. Now that we're done, we can actually export this. If you look into your materials of Crash, you'll sometimes see that he does have more than one material depending what model you use, but it's okay. We'll be needing all those materials separately anyways if you want. So now that we're done, let's go to export as FBX and go to scale right here. Set that to 0.01. Scroll down, armature, no leaf bones. We don't want the leaf bones because I don't know. I actually don't know why we don't need the leaf bones. So name this whatever you want. I'm just gonna name this one CBT. So export it. Now that we finished that, we can actually move on to the fun part, which is Unreal. How long have I been recording? 35 minutes, wow. Okay. So while I wait for Unreal Editor to initialize, I'll be drinking some water. That was yummy. Okay. So, load your own project. Alright. This is a bad example, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Oh, let me just make it easy for you guys. Okay. So, here's what you're gonna do. Oh, I don't need that, but okay. You're gonna be starting off with this content folder right here. But how do you get all these? You go to Edit, Plugins, New Plugin, Content Only, and you name it specifically after these. You're gonna be needing 3 of these. CP3701 underscore Crash, CIN3701 underscore Crash Bandicoot, and character common. They're all gonna have their own separate plugin folders, and it's gonna be called whatever you called it, content. But they all need to be named these specifically. So I'll be putting that in description. So let's start off with CP3701 Crash. This is where we start things off. You're gonna right click and press import to. You're gonna go into where you had your model. Mine's named CBT, so I open it and press import all. There's gonna be a message log. Don't worry about it, just close out of it. And if you look over here, Crash is in the thing. Now, if your model looks shiny and you don't like it, go into the material right here, right click, type in constant, drag this to roughness, and put it to 100 on the value side right here, and press apply or save, same thing. Now it's just a rough thing, it's not shiny. If we go back, Crash is not shiny anymore. What do you do now? You drag the models into you're gonna have 3 folders named materials, mesh, textures. You're gonna drag these 2 into mesh, move here, and don't mind these crashes. You're gonna be naming these specifically after whatever I will put right here. So this one's gonna be called PH underscore CP 3701 underscore Crash. That is the one with the tan line under it. The purple one will be named SK underscore CP 3701 underscore Crash. Make sure the pink one is SK and the tan one is PH. Think of PH as Pornhub. And the Pornhub one has a tan for nude. And SK is the purple one. Now with the skeleton, with the texture, you're gonna drag this into textures. Don't mind these. You're gonna name the texture after this. T underscore CP 3701 underscore Crash underscore C. Sometimes you'll have 1 texture, sometimes you'll have 2. If you have more than 1 texture, put all the textures here and name one of them, well, most of the body, as T underscore CP 3701 underscore Crash C. Well, I don't know if you need to name it or not, but for the material, you drag this into materials. Don't mind all these. For this one, you're gonna be naming this one MI underscore CP 3701 underscore Crash. You're gonna be duplicating this. Press Ctrl C, Ctrl V. You're gonna be naming the other one the same thing, but MI underscore CP 3701 underscore Crash underscore fur. This will replace the fur over Crash, the actual default skin Crash. Now that we're done with that, let's do the skeleton. Let's copy the skeleton by doing Control C, going to Character Common. You're gonna make a folder name, Animation. You're gonna be pasting your skeleton right here, and you're gonna rename this skeleton to Skell_hero character. In your CP3701_crash, you could delete this one, but always remember to go back to your mesh and go to the SK one, press no, and apply to Skell_hero character, and save it. After that, let's copy all your meshes and put it into CIN_crash. A reminder, you could the easiest thing to do with this is to rename this one and put, instead of CP, you do CIN. The other one too, PH_CIN. Now go back to your character common and get your Skell_hero character and put your skeleton into the mesh too. This time you're gonna be naming it Skell_CIN3701_crash. Now this has a materials folder too. So we go back into materials, we copy these. And you don't need a textures folder for this one. So only make it materials and mesh. For materials, we name this one the same thing, but we don't need to rename anything, so we do, but for this one, you do _INST for both of them at the end. And after that, when you have all your things done, you press Save All and cook content for Windows. While it's cooking, you will go into your text. Well, you don't have to. You go into one of your folders, right click on something, an asset, press Show in Explorer, and it will take you to this. You're gonna go to where it says your project name right here. Click on it, go to Saved, Cooked, Windows No Editor, your project name, plugins, and all these will be right here. So you'll be opening your mod folder right here. And you're gonna have a double lava folder. So make a lava, open it, make a lava folder, make a plugins folder. And for all of these, you don't need these two because we already cooked them. So, well, I mean, I don't really need user interface art. But for this one, we don't need character common. So the one I just deleted, the folder, the one I said the art one, that is for art, like the icon. We're only going to be transferring character common. So character common, content, animation, remove these two skeletons. Go back to your plugins folder, go to characters. Well, you need a folder named characters. Make a folder named characters. Go to player, and you're going to be needing these two now. So you drag these two into where you put your thing. Go into both of them, go to your mesh folder, delete only the PH ones for CP3701_crash. Only keep the SK ones. Now go back to the CIN3701 Crash Bandicoot. We're doing the same thing, but this time we keep SK only. We don't need the skeleton or the PH either, so we delete those and leave it only with SK. After that, we can open up UnrealPak. Go to UnrealPak, drag your lava folder into any of them. You can see it will come up with a lava folder. Rename this to Pack Chunk 99, and with the little line, and name it whatever your mod is. So mine is Tag Team Racing Crash. So TTR Crash. Now you're going to navigate to your Crash Bandicoot 4 folder. So you go to Lava, Content, Packs. Make a mods folder with a squiggly line on it. It will be called Squiggly Line Mods. This is where I have all my mods. Since my SpongeBob mod replaces main Crash, I will delete it for this and put TTR Crash in this. After that, you can launch up your game. So let's launch up Crash 4. That's not Crash 4, there we go. And we'll just put it on the game capture. Cool. There we go. In Crash 4, we can go to your game. And it'll be appearing on the dimensional map. So 3, 2, 1, we can switch over. Boom. Look at that. So you can go into any level that you want. Check it out. The CIN folder replaces the cutscene Crash model, which is more high poly version, I guess. But let's take a look at it in a cutscene.
So, we need the other masks to close the rifts?
Correct. Now, my brother Akano is around here somewhere.
Welcome to the show, vermin. Looking for your precious masks.
Behold the aforementioned putts.
Don't worry. We have a thing where we fight, he loses. It's a well-established dynamic.
Not this time. I've got a backstage pass for you to get up close and personal with my weapon of mass percussion. Come ready to rock.
Good.
As you can see, in-game he works just fine. Reminder that when you go into a level and you change it to a mask like this one, the model will be changed. That's because these models are also different skins, in that they have different looks to them. They're not just suits that they put onto the character and just, you know, get poorly sloppy. So, yeah, it's not like done immediately. So it does work, as you can see. And that's all I gotta show. If you're interested in modding Crash Bandicoot 4, make sure you join the Discord community. I'll be putting it in the description if you need help with anything. If this was helpful in any way, I doubt that it was helpful, because I really did struggle making the mod. But it was kind of a hard video to make. So on screen will be a on screen right here will be a invite to the server. I will be putting it in the description as well, along with some timestamps at the end of the video. Well, not, I mean, in the description to see where you could skip to, depending how hard the video was to understand. But now that you know the basics of modding Crash Bandicoot 4, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Make some weird mods with Crash. I don't know, make Crash nude or something. Well, I guess that's all I gotta do for today. If you need help, make sure you do join the server, the Discord server. And yeah, I will also be there to help you, along with many other cooler mods like Snock and Thunderous and Junior and all that. Have a nice day, and I don't fucking know. I'm gonna end the video now. So, where's OBS? Oh, there it is.